Welcome to the Vue Range Selector tutorial. With the Syncfusion Vue Range Selector, you can effortlessly select value ranges to display within a chart. This component is commonly used in financial charts and dashboards to filter and visualize data effectively. In this video, I will show you how to add the Range Selector component to a Vue app and use its data binding, custom ranges, series types, tooltips, and customized grid and tick lines. You will also see how to render a lightweight range selector without a chart. I will start the Vue application creation process using the Vue v command. Make sure you have installed the latest versions of Vue and Node.js. I'll use Visual Studio Code as my editor and show the output in the Chrome browser. To create a project in Vue, I open Visual Studio Code and type the npm create v.latest command. I name the app my Vue app. I choose Vue as the framework and JavaScript as the variant. A Vue project is created. I navigate to the newly created Vue app and install the required dependencies using the npm install command. Now, the application is configured with the default settings of a Vue project. I type the command npm install at syncfusion/ej2 Vue charts -- save to install the Range Selector package and its dependencies. Next, I must register the trial license key to use Syncfusion components. I open the main.js file and import the register license method from the Syncfusion ej2 base package. Using this method, I register the trial license key. For instructions on how to generate a trial key, refer to the link in the video's description. To add the Range Selector component, I open the app Vue file and remove the default code. Then I import the Range Navigator component from the Syncfusion Vue Charts package and add the EJS Range Navigator tag inside the template section. I save the changes and run the application using the npm run dev command. See, the default layout of the Range Selector is displayed where you can select any range. Now I will show you how to bind data to the Range Selector. I am going to integrate the Range Selector with a chart. For that, I need to add the eRange Navigator Series collection tag, which receives n number of eRange Navigator Series tags. As I want to add a single Range Selector now, I add a single eRange Navigator Series tag. To use these tags, I import the Range Navigator Series collection directive and Range Navigator Series directive modules from the Syncfusion ej2 Vue Charts package. Then I define the stock details object with date and value fields. I assign this object to the data source property. Map the date field to the xName property and the value field to the yName property. I set the value type as datetime since it contains date values. To use this, I need to import the datetime module from the ej2 Vue Charts package and inject it into the provide function. I import this function from Vue. See, the Range Selector renders with a line series chart based on the provided data source. Here, the interval between the axis labels is automatically calculated based on the data source value. To change the interval type, you can set it to month, week, day, and so on. Here, I want to display a datetime axis with months. So I set the interval type property to months Now the interval between axis labels is shown in months. Next, I customize the axis labels by adding the label format property and setting the custom format to month and year. See, date-time axis labels are displayed in month and year format. Let me show you how to set a custom range in the Range Selector component. I define the object value and set a date range. I set it from January 1st, 2019 to January 1st, 2021. I assign this object to the value property. Now the provided range is selected in the component. By default, the Range Selector renders a line series chart, but you can also render an area or step-line chart. To render an area chart, I import the Area Series module from the J2 Vue Charts package and inject it into the provide function. Then I set the type property to area. Now the series is rendered with an area type. To display a step-line chart, I import the step-line series module, inject it into the provide function, and set the series type to step-line. Now the Range Selector is rendered with a step-line chart series. Next, I am going to customize the Range Selector grid lines. So I define the object major grid lines and set the color to green and width to 4. I assign this object to the major grid lines property. The Range Selector grid lines color is now green with a custom width. Now let's see how to customize the Range Selector tick lines. To do that, I define the object major tick lines. Within it, I set the color to yellow and width to 3. I assign this object to the major tick lines property. Checking now, the tick lines are yellow with a width of 3. Next, I will show you how to add tooltips. First, I import the Range Tooltip module and inject it into the provide function. Second, I define the tooltip object and set the enable property to true. Third, I assign this object to the tooltip property. When I hover over a range, a tooltip is shown. To show tooltips on initial loading, I add the display mode property and set it to always. And the Range Selector renders with tooltips. Finally, I will show you how to render a Range Selector without a chart. By default, when the series collection is not mapped to the Range Selector, it will be initialized without a chart. So let me remove the data source, xName, yName, and type properties from the series collection tag and paste them in the Range Navigator tag. Then I comment out the series collection from the code. See, now the Range Selector renders without a chart. Let's wrap up this video. We explored how to add the Range Selector component to a Vue application. We also learned how to bind data to the Range Selector, apply a custom range, change the series type, enable tooltips, and customize the grid and tick lines. Additionally, we covered how to render a Range Selector without a chart. If you want to try out the example used in this video, you can download it from the GitHub link in this video's description. I have also shared a link to learn if you are eligible to obtain a free license key to use our Vue components through our community license. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel.